tournament and getting the win in the first round of the NCAAs. Then we've had this transition, but I'm so excited to have Coach Jacobson with us, and we're lucky to have him here. You know, he's had a storied 20-year career at another institution, and some other folks tried to draw him away, I think, a time or two, and but he's found the right place, and the timing's worked out really well, and we're excited to have him at Utah State. Camille and I know what it's like to be at a school for 20 years and then make a transition. It was 5 months ago today, almost exactly, when we were in the same spot that you and Don are in, Coach. But it's great to be here and to think about the future that we have for Utah State athletics and for men's basketball. It's, you know, so important to the university and to our community. We know that, and it takes the alumni, it takes the boosters, it takes our corporate sponsors. We can't do it without the herd, without the spirit squad, without the pep band and the marching band. They all bring so much to it. But, you know, at the end of the day, we know that it takes a great coach and a great leader, and we are really excited to introduce him to you today. I also have to stop and thank the man who hasn't slept the last 10 days or so, Cam Walker, and really appreciate the job that he and our athletics leadership team have done to bring Coach Jacobson to us. And Cam's got a great vision for the future of Utah State athletics at this pivotal time as we transition into the Pac-12. And, you know, as we're celebrating 7 trophies this season from our Aggie teams, that's amazing. But we also know that, you know, the next trophy doesn't just show up, and we have to constantly be working for that. And so grateful for Cam and his leadership in providing that transition as we transition to the Pac-12. With that, I'm going to turn the time over to our athletics director and vice president, Cam Walker.
A little high for me. It'll be better for the next speaker. First off, thank you, President. I truly appreciate you being part of this process and making time to do so. When we move at hectic schedules. And, you know, I think I was talking to you at like 11 o'clock at night and being like, can you be here? And you're like, I could be there at 8. And I'm like, let's do it. So I appreciate that, and your continued leadership and support is incredibly beneficial and helpful to us as an athletic department. Good morning. Is everybody good? It's great to see everybody here. I appreciate you making time. This is an important moment for us as a campus, certainly as an athletic department, but also as a community. And so I really appreciate you, Aggie Nation, our fans, our donors. I'm sure we've got some herd members. That's the quietest I've ever heard the herd ever. The quietest ever. But most importantly, I'm excited to see this group on the second row. I hope you all know I took this responsibility extremely serious. Because you guys matter. And I just want you to know that you guys were on top of mind of me and our entire committee the entire time. So we don't take this lightly, and I think we found the right leader for you. I want to say a special thank you to Don Jacobson and the Jacobson family for committing to a shared vision. Moving is never fun. But you'll love Cache Valley, and we're excited to have you here. That was one of the joys of the process, was not just meeting Coach, but meeting Ben and Dawn. They're tremendous people and an amazing couple, and really excited to get them here, and really excited to meet Hunter and Tanner. So when I stood here in September, I talked about building something sustainable and rooted in Cache Valley's culture. We're taking Utah State athletics to new heights with a focus on long-term success. And today is an important step in that process, an essential one as we enter an exciting new chapter in the Pac-12. This is a proud program with rich history, basketball at Utah State matters. It matters in this community, it matters in this state, and it matters across the country. When something matters at this level, you have to invest. You invest time, you listen, you evaluate, and you make sure you get it right. When we began this process, we heard from our championship team and the leadership committee that they recommended that provided an important voice to what mattered to them and what has made us successful. We then embarked on a journey to conduct a national search, which we spoke to coaches, administrators, former players, and people across the game who understand what winning looks like, and more importantly, who understand what sustained winning looks like. At every step of that process, one name consistently rose to the top: Ben Jacobson, a proven winner. More than that, a program builder, a developer of people. He's a coach whose teams reflect discipline, toughness, and accountability. What stood out to us wasn't just what he accomplished, which is extensive. It was also how he's gone about accomplishing it. His teams play connected. They play unselfish. They compete at a high level, and they do it year after year. When we talked about the identity of Utah State basketball with our leadership team, those qualities kept coming back. They're a family that plays tough, relentless, and smart basketball with players and coaches that sacrifice self-interest for what's best for the team. These guys on that second row embody that. At Utah State, we're committed to building a program that develops young men on and off the court. We'll continue to build champions on the court, in the classroom, and in the community. But make no doubt about it, we will chase championships and we will chase NCAA tournament wins. Coach has a track record in player development, in building strong locker rooms, and leading with integrity, which aligns directly with who we are and, importantly, where we are going. I understand the expectations here at Utah State. They are high, and they should be. Coach Jacobson also understands those expectations. When I called Coach Stu Morrill this week, he made it very clear what those expectations were and gave me very sound advice, but also stressed how important Aggie basketball is to all of us. The expectations are high, but it's not just to meet those expectations in any one single year. It's to build a program that sustains those and meets them consistently year after year. Coach Jacobson is the right leader to do exactly that. One of the things that makes Utah State so special is this campus and this community. Coach understands that this program is bigger than basketball. It's about connection, pride, and representing the university the right way. I know him and his family are extremely excited to be a part of Logan, to be a part of Aggie Nation, and to get to know the herd. I've never heard them this quiet, but I promise they're loud, Coach. And the rest of our students. Our student athletes, our staff, our leadership are aligned. It's been great to have the alignment of our board, our president, in support of athletics as we've grown these last few months. And as we take this next step forward, that will be critical for us. Incredibly beneficial to have my conversations with Coach. And what stood out most during those conversations was his belief in what wins and his belief in people and his belief in doing things the right way. He is uncompromising. He's uncompromising in life, and I think he's uncompromising on the court. Though today is not just about a new head coach. It's about the next chapter of Utah State basketball. And that next chapter will be built on the same things that have always made this program strong. It's my pleasure to introduce the 23rd head coach of Utah State men's basketball, Coach Ben Jacobson.
Coach Ben Jacobson getting a standing ovation as he's walking up to the podium, giving a hug to USU AD Cam Walker, and is now taking the podium.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, this is special. And Cam mentioned it a couple times, and I'll get to it in my remarks. But it's special because of you guys sitting right there in row 2. Okay? This is why we do it. Okay, this is why I do it for you guys that are sitting right there. I appreciate you being here this morning, but just understand this is about you guys. Okay, I'm going to start with some thank yous if that's okay. President Mortenson and Camille, thank you. Thank you for taking time the half hour to come down and see me. That meant a lot to me, right? And in the process and in making this decision that you would take time to do that. So thank you. Cam and your staff, Ike, Emily, and Carter, you guys have been great. You can feel the energy and the camaraderie and wanted to make sure I was able to be a part of that. And I think that most of you understand this, and I'm getting to Cam. This guy's got a plan, doesn't he? And he's not afraid to share it. He's not afraid to talk about his vision and all of the places that we can go. And I appreciate that about you, Cam. And I can't wait to start knocking those off. Okay, really appreciate your trust in me. Our football coach and Holly came down to dinner the other night. That meant a lot to Don and I to get a chance to do that. Look forward to building that relationship. Thanks, Coach, for being there. My wife, Dawn, is here this morning, and we've got 2 boys. Hunter's 22 years old. Tanner's 20 years old. Hunter was on our team for 4 years and just finishing up his career. He's going to student teach and then be a GA. And I tried to get him out here, but he's pretty tied to that Cedar Falls community. And then Tanner's over at the University of Nebraska, going to business school over there. And their support, some of the conversations that we have had over the last 5 or 6 days have just been tremendous. Obviously, their support means a lot to me, but really proud of those 2 guys and so grateful and thankful, Don, for what we're doing. Yep, thanks. My mom and dad, I've got 3 brothers and a sister. Mom and dad, they've been great. I'm gonna tell you, it's been like one of the wildest rides. I'm 55 years old, and 2 brothers are close to me, and one's about 10 years younger, and then our sister's the youngest. And growing up in our house, it's okay to dream big. And if you wanted something bad enough, you just got to work for it a little bit, and you can get it. And then just treat people good. Be good to people, right? And treat people well. So those things were with us the entire time, and they've stayed with me in my coaching. And then 2 guys that have meant the most to me in basketball is my head coach, Rich Glass, at the University of North Dakota, and Greg McDermott was my assistant coach at that time, and most recently, Coach Mack was at Creighton. And I think as basketball people, we all understand what's happened at Creighton and everything that they have done. And those 2 have meant a lot to me. They taught me that this isn't about offense and defense. Right? This is about relationships, right? And building those and having them be in a place where you're able to accomplish special things. So I really appreciate about those 2 guys. And then the University of Northern Iowa, right? When as the president mentioned, being at a place for a long time. When you stay somewhere for a long time, that of course would indicate that it's a special place. Right? They awfully good to Don and I and our family, but just a really special place. So I want to thank them today. So why after 20 years, 25 years, what is it? What are we so excited about, and why am I standing here right now? It's I said it, but it's row 2, right? To be able to take on this challenge with you guys and the way in which you've done it already. Okay, so we were the next game, right? After your game with Villanova, and we were standing right there when you guys came off that floor, and the excitement. And of course, after you win an NCAA tournament game, right, there's going to be a little bit of excitement. You're going to be bouncing around a little bit, but you could feel the camaraderie, right? And feel the excitement. And I wanted to be part of that. Cam laid out, and we know it, the tremendous success that we have had here. And you can look at the numbers and you can read them and you can see all of the different things, and wanting to be a part of that, very exciting as well. And what a place to do it, right? our gymnasium. What a place to do it. I'm going to make sure I get it right, 117 and 21 over the last 9 seasons in our gymnasium. So what a place to be able to do it. And I know a lot of that has to do with the herd. I've watched a lot. I've been told a lot. So it's okay if you guys want to hoot and holler for just a second. Like, I would love to hear a little bit of the herd right now. And I'm excited about doing more, right? About the challenge ahead of us with the Pac-12, right? And challenging the herd to, not right now, but when we get back in there, being louder and doing more. And I'll challenge the guys when I get to that point. And one of those, and I said it we had a brief Zoom call. One of those things I talked about was, okay, that first weekend in the NCAA tournament, that's special, right? But there's a next weekend, right? And there's a next weekend after that. And what does that feel like, right? The excitement of that, with the new league and with our leadership and with this group. What does that next weekend look like and feel like, right? Fortunate to have been there as a head coach, right? And want to do that together. There's a ton of excitement in that. I get most excited about people, right? All of you in this room, everything you've done for Utah State, continue to do. Our president, Cam, the guys in the team, that's what I get most excited about. I just touched on it in terms of what I'm looking forward to. I've said this a lot. You're going to hear me say it again. I absolutely love coaching. I love coaching. The only thing I love more is being part of a team. I don't know a time for me when I have not been part of a team, right? And that responsibility that comes with it, counting on the guy or gal next to you, right? And knowing that you're being counted on, right? Man, I love doing this, right? And I'm as excited and ready as I've ever been. Probably the most ready that I have been in my head coaching career. But I love being a part of a team. There is nothing more special than being part of a team. And I look forward to doing that with everybody. Partnering with the community in the Cache Valley, supporting our other teams, being on campus, getting with everybody and being there for each other as head coaches. That's something I'm really looking forward to. And then the vision laid out by Cam, right? I don't know that that I make this move at this time, if not for the vision that Cam had, right? The things that we are talking about doing, right? And then knowing, really important for me to know his plan, right? And that we can get that done. And obviously the Pac-12, fellas, let's go get it, huh? There's a lot of excitement. I'm really looking forward to what's ahead for us in the new Pac-12, okay, and what that means and what that challenge is going to be like. Okay, let's go get that thing. And I'll wrap it up with you guys, okay? And I mentioned this briefly again on that Zoom call. This is your program, okay? This is your program. The programs only thrive with leadership by the players, okay? Player-led programs. This is your program, right? I'm here to help you. This is your program. We're going to build relationships that extend far beyond hoops, right? Far beyond hoops. The things that you talked about, family, trust, real conversations, okay, that's coming, right, fellas? Far beyond hoops. Basketball, fast and physical, right? And we're going to play, this is the part, right? Everybody stands up here and says we're going to play 1,000,000 miles an hour, right? As a head coach, fast and physical. Right? We've been doing it for a long time, right? Defensively, we're going to get in your way and we're going to fight you. Right? The individual battles, defensive rebounding. We've been in the top 20 in the country. Defensive rebounding percentage for most of the last 10 years. That piece of it's really important to us. It's really important to me. So we're going to fight you on that end. Right? But when we secure that rebound, man, it's all about the energy of the basketball, right? Hey, we got to go, right? And we've got to get that basketball moving, and we've got to get into the front court, and we've got to play. And I really look forward to that part with you guys. I can't wait to get to this afternoon, I've had this suit on 3 times in the last 6 days, okay, in this same tie. And I'm glad it worked, right? We're here together, right? But I haven't had it on that many times in the last 6 years. So, I cannot wait to get to this afternoon. And the reason being that we get together. Okay, guys? We get together and sit down and start going on this thing. And I cannot wait to get to this afternoon. And, our everything that I've learned, fellas, our student body, right? The herd, our president, Cam. I'm going to tell you something. When people show this level of trust in me, right? When they show this level of belief in us as a team, right? We got a job to do, right? So for our fans, our student body, the herd, our community, they've earned it. Everyone in this room has poured a lot into this, right? They've earned it, right? And next weekend, right? What's that look like? The next weekend, what's that one look like? Then there's one more, right? We're going to knock that door down, fellas, right? We're going to knock that door down, right? Everybody in here has done a lot for us, and we're going to make sure that we pay that back. Guys, we got one goal, right? Each year when we get started, we have one goal, and that's to have as much fun as we possibly can together. That's the one goal that we have. And I've got one expectation for you, okay? That you give everything you've got for the person next to you. And not just on the team, but with the staff, in the program, in the room, that we give everything we've got for the person next to us. That's the only goal we've got. It's the only expectation I've got for you. The other things take care of themselves, okay? Whether it's in the Pac-12, home or away, right? We talk about the tournament, the next weekend and the next. Those things take care of themselves. We're going to have as much fun as we possibly can together, right? And we're going to give everything we got to the person next to us. And as we go through that, and I'll leave you with this, okay? This is the best time, right? It was a little bit ago for me, right? But I remember it. It is the best time for you as young people to have teammates and have this kind of support, right? The very best time. But when it's done, hey, whether it's 1 year or 2 or 3, when it is done, man, you got 40 years, okay? We need to set you up, right? Do everything we can to set you up. For the year after, yes. But the 40 years, okay? Right? That's what I'm here for, right? I'm going to leave it there, right? The sooner I do, the sooner I get to these guys, the sooner I can get out of this suit and tie. I'm going to leave it there. It is great of you to be here today, right? And I cannot tell you how excited I am and proud I am to be part of Aggie Nation, right? And look forward to this journey we're about to get on, okay? Thanks again, fellas, for being here this morning. Look forward to seeing you this afternoon. Okay? Go Aggies.
Head coach Ben Jacobson getting a standing ovation as he's introduced as the 23rd coach of USU's men's basketball program, and now he's
we'll open up to a few questions from media now.
Receiving a jersey from USU AD Cam Walker, jersey number 23, Craig, and now he's going to be heading back up to the microphone as they're going to take a few questions here. Just getting a couple photos taken. Coach Jacobson standing with President Mortenson and Cam Walker holding this Utah State jersey. And now Coach Jacobson coming back to answer a few questions.
Coach Jacobson, this is Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily.
Morning, Jason.
Wanted to ask you about something where yesterday you were in another press conference, and it was at Northern Iowa, and not a lot of coaches have given exit press conferences. A lot of them kind of slink away and go to their next job, really at anywhere, but even Utah State. Just what kind of led you to standing in front of the media and saying, all right, I'm saying goodbye now?
Yeah, 25 years. is the reason. The relationships, right, with the people at Northern Iowa. Right? There's presidents and ADs and faculty and people on campus and people in the building that I've been with for a long time. Right? Those relationships, one, and then the most important part of it was the players. It's some of the things I just touched on. It's what I've been doing for 20 years as a head coach. Right? And there's twists and turns in this thing, and when the twists and turns go your way, it's easy. It's easy to stand up there, right, and talk about things, right? And it's fun, right? And human nature really leads you down that part of it, because you're excited about being able to talk about the successes and how well it's going. When it twists and turns the other way, right, and it isn't going to be as much fun, I talk with our guys about that. You do the best you can, right? And you've got to be willing to take those twists and turns as well. And so I certainly owed it to our players, right? And had some very meaningful and powerful conversations with our players at Northern Iowa yesterday. So I wanted to lead from the front a little bit, if you will, and continue to help our players grow and help them understand that you're going to be there, right? And you're going to show up when you're needed.
Coach Brian Priest with KSLSports.com.
Morning, Brian.
You've talked a lot about just the vision here at Utah State and what Mr. Walker presented to you during the interview process and everything. What do you see as the a 5-year, 10-year plan here at Utah State with the basketball program?
Yeah, thanks for your question. Maybe a couple things I would touch on is being part of the new Pac-12. Helping to elevate it, right? Where can we take it to as a league, right? We're going to enter at a certain place, but where can we take it to as a league, right? That being one piece of it. The competitive spirit, right? The competitive part of me. You go into that league with the teams, from the Mountain West, and Gonzaga joins the league, and the others with Washington State and Oregon State and Texas State. Fighting for the top of that thing, right, is what we talked about, right, and something that as we have seen here, right, we've got everything in place to do that, and how far can we push it, right, and then you take it to the next step of the seed this year. I do know. I was going to ask you, fellas, how you felt about that 9 seed, but I do know, right, and I know on a couple of fronts. I've watched you guys play for a couple of years. So I know, right? At Northern Iowa, we also had the same thing show up, a 9 seed. I haven't seen a group not smile and clap. Okay, so I do understand. So I say that the ability now as we move forward, right, to do what we did this past year, what you guys did this past year, and have that result in a different seed. 7, 6, was that probably where we should have been this year? Fellas, 6, 7, right? So the opportunity to have that happen in the new Pac-12, right? If we're doing our job, and we're going to, right? So from a competitive standpoint, I'm excited about those things, right? With everything that we have in the room, the support that we have that has been in place for such a long time, right? The alignment with our president and with Cam to be able to do those things on the competitive side.
Hey, Coach, Mark Greenwood with the Utah Statesman. One thing you've done really well the last couple of years is roster retention. And as some of these guys here maybe weigh their future, the things that they're going to do, transfer portal, whatever it is, how do you kind of approach that over the coming days to continue that track record of roster retention? Yeah,
the first thing will be getting through is the wrong way to say it, but the rest of the morning and the lunch and getting to these guys. And having it start, right? They should, the questions and thoughts that they have right now are the ones that they should have, right? So we'll get started on it, and that has been our formula. That has been the way I approach things. Is we're going to sit down and start talking, right? They've heard the the bits and pieces this morning, and they got a little bit of the Zoom call, and I hope and I think they can get a little bit of a feel for how I'm wired, and but the conversations really start this afternoon, right? And finding out what it is that they want, and what it is that I can do to help them. Right? That's where it'll start, and then working hard at the relationships. And it's a short window, but it's 4 years, with the transfer portal and the name, image, and likeness. So we feel like we've got a good plan in place. It is one that has been very productive for us, but that hasn't did. There's other things that I've had to do, but there's only been one thing on my mind, and it's these guys right here. That's the only thing that's been on my mind, and so we'll get started and get after those relationships. It has been and will continue to be the most important thing with our basketball program is these players feeling great about continuing to be at Utah State. It's the most important thing to me, and I've got my staff here, and you could ask any one of them. The most important thing to me is that they feel great about continuing to be here. So we'll get that started this afternoon.
Hey, Coach. Eric Franson with 106.9 The Fan.
Yeah, good morning, Eric.
You had a stretch at Northern Iowa about 10 to 15 years ago where you were regularly in the NCAA tournament or regularly in the postseason and then kind of went away from that. Now you've recently started to get back into that form. Maybe walk us through just what it took to get there and the challenges of maintaining that success, having it go away from you, but then getting a team back into that field again.
Yeah, it's what I love about what we're talking about today. Sustaining consistency is the hardest part of greatness, and to know about, but also read about and look at the numbers of what has been accomplished here. Man, that's a challenge when you get there, right? To do it again and do it again and do it again. It's a challenge, right? But one that I've always been excited about. And we've been very fortunate to have a number of different groups. Right? I was an assistant in 4, 5, and 6, and in the tournament, and 9 and 10 as a head coach, and 15 and 16 as a head coach. We won our regular season title in 20 and 22, and right on the edge of an at-large bid in 20 with COVID. And now these past 2 years, and they've all been different groups of guys. So we've been something that we've been really, really proud of. I think our approach has allowed us to continue to do that, right? To be able to come back again and again in terms of who we recruit and why we recruit them. The consistency of our approach in recruiting, our consistency on the day-to-day, right? The guys who know it's simple. It isn't complicated for us. Showing up on time is important, and and working at it. When we're together, working at it when we're not together. So you're building your confidence and the belief in what we're doing. Our formula isn't complicated, but we're very consistent with us, and I believe that's why we've been able to come back, again and again over the course of time.
Hey, Coach, it's Carson Frost with the Herald Journal. You mentioned you've been watching this team the past couple of years. Just what are some things about the style and the product on the floor that excites you the most, and how are you going to install that in the system you run here?
Yeah, there's enough similarities that excites me, Carson. In terms of the way we've approached things on the offensive side. Defensively, there's some differences there, but in terms of getting in their way and being physical and rebounding, there's a lot of similarities there. The opportunity to watch you guys and watch Utah State. I think we've all heard it, and I may have said it earlier. That ball's got energy, right? That ball has got energy, and you see it when these guys are playing. Right? That's a big part of it. Right? And we talk about pace, and we talk about that ball popping around, and some of those same things. And without getting too into the X's and O's part, a lot of similarities when we get into that half court, right? With the zoom actions and and again, I'll be talking to these guys about all of that, but just a lot of similarities with watching them play, right? And the way they go about it, and how I feel about offense. So it does. It excites me because there is it isn't going to be brand new for them, right? And I think that's something that we're going to be able to have good conversations about. And I'm going to when I started and told the guys, this is your team, right? You like doing something, and it's been working for us, and we're going to keep doing it, right? It's not going to change just because I'm the head coach or I'm our head coach now. You guys have been together, and if there's things you like doing that are working for you, we're going to keep doing them, right? I can adjust, right? I've been doing this a long time, right? Seen a lot of offenses and seen a lot of defenses. I can adjust, right? And I'm excited about that part as well.
Coach, this is Jason Walker again. You mentioned earlier playing fast and physical. I know we're kind of talking about styles, but maybe I'm reading too much in the numbers, but they've talked about how your teams play a little bit slower paced, kind of deliberate.
You saw it correctly.
Yeah. Is there kind of a change in the style, or is there an aspect to when you say fast and physical that isn't necessarily showing up in the numbers?
Yeah, so I'll just use this year as an example, and there's we've gotten that over the years. Part of the lower possession games and that pace comes from our defense. Our defense has been good, and some years it has been great. And when it is, it takes the other team a little longer. The hope is they aren't coming down and they're shooting it in 7 seconds because they're open. Are you following me? So when people talk pace and the tempo, and they think just offense, right? Well, when our defense is really good, it takes them a little longer. So that by itself takes some of the possessions out of the game. And then I've always loved the other side of it. And I'll get to this year here in a second, but I've always loved the other side. We hear that a lot, with our offense, and then we'll play somebody and they'll be like, whoa. And the conversation will be similar, like, well, I see these tempo numbers, and you just went out and you're throwing it up and you're shooting a 3-5 seconds into the shot clock. Whether it's an opponent or maybe a fan. So those numbers don't tell the entire story. We're going to play in transition, right? And we're going to find that shot before the defense gets set. Now we're going to execute if we don't get the one that we like, but I trust these guys. Now they're going to go find one, right? And they're going to have the freedom and confidence to go do that. This year specifically, our starting two guard and our backup point guard, both were hurt for most of December. And at that point, we're a little shorthanded. And our best opportunity we had, the Wichita State at home and Tulsa in a tournament, and we're going to St. Mary's. Our best opportunity to be successful in those games was to be deliberate with the two injuries to our backcourt, right? So it just changed our dynamic from a roster standpoint. And when they got back in January, we lost our starting power forward for about 4 or 5 weeks. So we stayed there a little bit. But if you anybody watched the Valley tournament at all, we won 4 in 4 days. And if you watch those last 3 games, I don't know if the guys had a chance to peek at it or not, but you're going to love it, right? That thing is moving, right? So you're right in what you read. There's a part of it that I like, because once that game starts, like there's no hiding then, right? Now you can see these numbers. Once the game starts, there's nowhere to hide, right? We know what we're going to do. There's nowhere to hide once that game starts. So, great question.
Hi, Coach. ATV News, Erica Mejia. In executing that plan of high expectations, what is your delivery in executing those high expectations? Yeah,
I think my experience as a head coach and doing this for a long time helps with that. So that it isn't something that I'm ever going to shy away from. And then working with the guys to understand that there is no expectation of being perfect. I think there's times when you have high expectations, that a feeling of, man, I've got to do everything right. We've got to be perfect. That's never going to be a part of it with me or with our guys or with our program. Right? And then the ability to handle those twists and turns. Right? Because you're able to get there if your day-to-day is really good. Right? Your habits and your routine are really good. You care about each other a lot. You're able to get to where those high expectations, where that bar is set. For me, it all comes back to the day-to-day and the relationships. Right? That we're doing it and we're working on those relationships, and we're working really hard at basketball, and we're doing it each and every day. So I do. I think my experience in the games we've played, that I've been a part of as a head coach, has certainly helped us when it comes to tackling some of the high expectations.
And that'll conclude our media portion. We'll end it with the Scotsman.